Here is a brief overview of the financial mechanisms deployed for outreach work and mobile team services. There are three main mechanisms for financing social services, including the non-state actors. Financing can be secured from budget support, for example, subsidies or grants to non-state services providers, awarding contracts for performing outreach work and mobile team services, or providing the so-called third-party payments. Budget support may include subsidies and grants. Subsidies are usually provided to specific civil society organizations, often in the form of institutional support as a mandatory obligation established by law for indigenous groups or for historical and other reasons. Subsidies is not awarded on the basis of proposed projects or plans. This model is less favored as it may lack transparency and accountability in public fund use. It limits competition and does not guarantee the best value for money. In this way, certain CSOs are put in a privileged position to receive unconditional government funding for years and years. In particular, it may discriminate newly established CSOs. Grants are also a form of support for civil society organizations by the central government or local budgets. Unlike subsidies, CSOs are usually funded for the implementation of a specific project that has strictly defined goals, activities, deadlines for implementation, and detailed budget structure. Monitoring of how funds are spent is mandatory. Most often, the central or local governments defines a general goal or more specific goals to be achieved, and CSOs are invited to propose, support innovative ideas and promote innovative services. They are not effective mechanisms for supporting ongoing services, as they are project-based and time-limited. Therefore, CSOs that rely solely on funding through grants strive to continue funding and providing the service, which is important not only from the perspective of NGOs, but more importantly, from the perspective of users. Grants are also more prone to budget cuts than other funding mechanisms. On the other hand, they are usually easier to administer than other financial mechanisms, such as contracts or third-party payments. Social contracts include tendering process. The state or local government should know exactly what they want to receive as a service. The contracting should ensure that the defined services are delivered to customers, ensuring the best quality at a reasonable price. Tendering for social services based on the Universal Public Procurement Services. Instead of competitive process, the contracting authority may enter directly into negotiations with potential providers to clarify the costs and obligations of the parties. This is not done under common public procurement rules, given the diverse nature of social services and the variety of service providers. This usually happens when there is a lack of candidates, or the provider already offers services and has the necessary professional qualifications, experiences, premises and technical equipment that the municipality requires as conditions in providing services. Sometimes, negotiations are used as a second phase after the realization of the tender procedure. Partnership include partnership between the state and CSOs, when there are additional sources of funding such as EU and bilateral donors or revenues, etc. Public-private partnership is an agreement on social service provision between the government and one or more private partners, which may include operators and financiers. Establishing public-private partnership for social services is particularly challenging, as social services usually require smaller investments than, for example, infrastructure or healthcare, and are often difficult to measure. Tendering and contracting with proper risk sharing is a complicated process. Therefore, such contracts are less common in practice. To avoid these shortcomings, governments can offer a wider range of social services, package projects and/or standardized contracts. Payment from third parties is a financial scheme where the government, central or local, is the third party, which pays for the costs of services provided by non-state actors, either directly through non-state actors as per capita payments or through users in the form of payment with vouchers. Payment per capita is sometimes called normative payment because the standard and the price of the services is determined by norms, and is most frequently used to maintain social institutions such as care for persons with severe disabilities, institutions for children without parental care, or homes for the elderly. In such cases, the national or local government delegate the management of the institution to a private operator. Quality is controlled by licensing so that only those private actors who meet the standards and conditions set can appear as service providers. The government or local government define the price and it may not correspond to the actual cost of the services, which raises the question of financial risk sharing. Vouchers are more commonly used for non-institutional types of services and it is focused on the choice of users or clients. In this system, potential users receive vouchers based on which they can use certain services for free. For example, a person with a disability has the right to visit a physiotherapist twice a month and has the opportunity to choose their own therapist. The selection is made from a list of specialists who are licensed or approved to provide these services. Based on the vouchers collected from each service provider, the state, that is, the municipality, transfers a fixed fee for each customer served.